Howdy, folks. It's Jeff Camarda. It's Tuesday, August 11th. Forgive me, I'm feeling a bit under the weather and a bit foggy and groggy, as I'll get into in a second. But first, I wanted to thank everybody for your very kind and caring responses to my query yesterday about the frequency of the videos. I've never gotten so many emails in my life. I feel amazingly special. Thank you so much. I'm still grinding away, but I want to personally, we just awarded to respond to each one. Thank you. I still have quite a few to go through yet. They started streaming in last night, and they're still coming in now. So thank you very much. I really appreciate the input. And the consensus really seems to be that you're happy doing it a couple times a week. You know, one person pointedly said, gee, some of them are great, some of them are not so great. So if there's nothing really salient to report, then we won't. And a couple of you suggested that we do it on a regular schedule. But if you'll forgive me, I think we might be better served to do it when there's something important to say. And that may not be Monday or Friday or Tuesday or Friday, whatever. So if you'll allow me that, I'll try to, just report back to you when there's something important that I think that you should know about. I do want to also encourage you to share the videos and the classes with your relatives and friends. Some of you, I think, are. I think Candy mentioned that you told that some pals that I was reporting to you daily, and they were just astonished because they never hear from their financial advisor. So whether or not they're prospects to become clients for us, which would be great, but it's not for everybody. I appreciate that. I think they still benefit from the information, and particularly the classes. So please, when you get invitations for classes, which are now going to be under this flag, we decided on the Family Wealth Education Institute, which will be the sponsor of the next class just a couple of weeks now. And this is going to be on asset protection and risk management 101, really important stuff. Make sure you watch it. When that comes, it'll probably be the third week of August. But share those invitations with your friends until we work up a formal mechanism. Just forward the email and say, gee whiz, do you think it's great? If you do, and encourage them to watch. We won't even know who they are. If you forward them the email, we won't even know who they are unless they choose to register for a class. So they have complete discretion, and the social risk that you take by sharing this with them is really minimized. So please consider that. And again, I want to mention I'm not really feeling too good. Hopefully it's not the dreaded COVID. I don't think so. If so, the pretty tough old nut, and the COVID won't get me. But I've had some really bizarre symptoms over the past couple of weeks. A lot of significant pain, in arthritic pain, I think, in my neck and my shoulder, just very isolated, and a headache just on one side of my head going down. That's abated, but I've been really feeling quite tired today, and forgive me those appointments that I had to reschedule, but I spent a bit of time in bed. So I've been off my feet a little bit, so it's slowing me down a little bit. Please forgive me. I do want to talk about our overall investment strategy now, and maybe be a bit more forthright than I have been to make sure that we're clear. I know it's really hard to be sitting on a pile of dry powder as the market seems to soar and you're not participating in it. And believe me, Kim and my investments, our family money is deployed exactly the same way. So it's a painful place to be. I appreciate that. The reason that we're doing that is I am really concerned that we're in a market bubble. And bubbles never end well, and they're not obvious as they're occurring, and it's all wine and roses. I taught during my PhD studies, I taught a class on bubbles, and came to know quite a bit about them. And there are many hallmarks. In fact, I think I may do an upcoming family wealth education class on these that we're in a bubble now. And so try to remember that it's not what the market soars to and what your account seems to be. It's really only what you protect and keep that matters. And I think we're at huge risk of a big downturn here. And why is that? Why would I say that? Hopefully it's obvious, but there's a huge disconnect between market prices, stock market prices, and what's happening in the world. COVID is a significant health threat that's going to reverberate through the world society and economies for years, even if it's cured this year. Say the Russian vaccine, the untested Russian vaccine actually works, and is able to inoculate a large chunk of the population. This still, the consequence of this are going to be unwinding for years as companies go bankrupt and revenues and so forth. So this is a long-term problem. The economies around the world are suffering not, as bad. It hasn't been as bad since the Great Depression. One of the reasons that the market seems to be doing so well is because the Fed is just pouring a coal on it by printing money around the clock. But that's really unsustainable Kool-Aid in the long run. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons to think that the current market pricing is just crazy, and those that are fully invested could get burned really, really badly. And just think, by the way, you've been through this. Those of you that, are past college age, you've been through this a couple of times. Do you ever see it coming? Does the media ever see it coming? If you think back even to 2008, everything was cool really right up until election time, when things unwound. And by then it was really too late to do very much. And if you think back to 1999 and Y2K and the technology stock crash of the great crash of 2000, it took years and years and years to recover from. It's never really that obvious, and it isn't this time. So please bear that in mind. I know it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch the market soar, but it's not what you see on the news or see on your statements, in a temporary, fleeting fashion. It's really only what you keep that matters. So again, obviously, I'm still expecting a big drop. Well, our strategy is to shelter us and you in cash until that occurs. Then it looks like there's fair value and we want to get back in. Or until the conditions that are producing that disconnect pass. I don't think they will, but if it looks like we get the all clear and the economy is just really, healthy and robust again, then we'd get back in, but I don't think it's going to go that way. So our strategy is to shelter in cash. In the meanwhile, deploy significant chunks of that cash. Obviously, this has gone on longer than I expected. We've had to adopt our strategies to change the conditions, but to deploy part of that cash tactically, taking opportunities for short-term profits and momentum in other stocks and technology. When we have a great deal of skill and bench in this area, though we haven't spoken much about that. Kim, for instance, has been, in my view, a very effective trader for most of, as long as I've known her, really since the 1990s. She's really quite good and an excellent chartist, and we have some deep bench space there as well. And also deploy the non-trading or not commodity trading portion into tactical funds that look to take advantage of short-term moves in the market, either up or down. And this probably will result in a long-term shift in our overall investment philosophy and how we manage your money. The world has changed significantly. I tell you, my brother Jonathan, middle brother, who is as devout a student of the markets as I am. I think he's probably got more letters after his name now than I do. Of course, I gave some up, but he's constantly studying, and he's about to take CFA Level 3, I think, this year if the exam holds with COVID. And the change in the curriculum between what I was taught as a fundamentalist, as a financial accounting analytic focus, to now what's happening in the world with technical analysis and momentum and algorithmic trading and so forth. The world really has changed. And this really has been the impetus, I think, for us to change your overall investment philosophy and better conform it to the conditions that we expect to encounter going forward. So I think that you're going to find us more nimble and tactical as the world has changed that way. And in closing, again, thank you so much for all the wonderful emails. And I apologize, it's been I spent a good part of today in bed, so I haven't been as responsive as I'd like to be. Try to focus on the long-term rationality of what I'm saying and how it is that we're, working hard to chart you through. It doesn't really, again, matter what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. It's only the translation of your investments actions or our investment advice into the long-term family wealth that sticks, that matters. And we're laser focused on that. And I think in the end, you can be patient. It's hard. When one of my dear friends and clients, one of the first responders last night, had a few comments there, and I said, just try, old buddy, to be patient. I think in the end that you'll see that this comes out okay, and I really believe that'll happen. Anyway, as usual, I'm blathering on long. I'm surprised that I'm not drooling here. I feel so bad, and I've gone on so long. But anyway, thank you so much for your patience with that, and for all your wonderful emails. Hopefully that lent you some clarity. The videos will be less frequent, but hopefully more informative and more useful to you. And I'll try to be more forthright in explaining what our rationale is, and to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And one of you said, no more gloom and doom, it's so bad out there. I will definitely try to be more upbeat. So let me end on this upbeat note. We are convinced that the trading decisions and investment philosophies that we're following now will ultimately profit, and you'll be very pleased with them in the end. We really believe that. So try to keep good thought. And until tomorrow or the next day or Friday, or maybe next week, I don't know. That's it. Dr. Marta signing off. Thanks for your patience. Good night.